Hi, I'm Kevin Kittle, and you're watching the Cinema Files. And with us tonight, we have Monty Yazzie.
Hi, Kevin.
Hello, Monty. He's a good friend of mine. He's also the director for, this is the third year, I believe.
The third year.
Of the...
International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival.
All right. Now,
Coming to you April 6th through the 14th, everyone.
Right, in Phoenix, Arizona.
In Phoenix, Arizona,
And
yep.
we're actually standing in front of the, it's the Harkin Scottsdale 101.
This is where our festival happens every year.
Absolutely.
It's a great, great place.
So, the great thing about the International Horror and Sci-Fi
Film
Festival,
Yep.
I can't remember if it's sci-fi or horror, horror and sci-fi.
Or sci-fi.
Horror
Or sci-fi.
sci-fi. The great thing about it is that you kind of have a symbiotic relationship with the Phoenix Film Festival.
We do, a lot of different film festivals that happen throughout the year will happen separate. You'll have your genres festival that will happen in October, and then your secondary festival that happens at a different time during the year. Here for this festival, we have looped those both into one. So the Phoenix Film Festival functions concurrently with the International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival. So we operate at the same time, and I like to tell people, the best thing about that is you basically get two festivals for the price of one. So you can go and watch your dramas, your world cinema films, your wonderful college shorts, and at nighttime you can come and see some great horror and sci-fi films, and or even some great horror and sci-fi shorts as well too. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And to be honest, I'm not getting paid for this. I'm not being pressured to say this. I've gone to this for a number of years. I think maybe even before I became a critic.
Correct.
Both of the festivals. And something that I personally really enjoy about this particular festival is the variety. So not only, like you mentioned, you're getting two festivals for the price of one, and all of these great, you get premieres and everything else, but even within the stuff that you program, there's this huge variety. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I think I like to tell people I started as a fan. So year one of the Horror Sci-Fi Film Festival, I was in the audience, watching films, watching shorts, getting comfortable and used to some of these people who are making films in the Valley, and meeting these great creative people that are making these wonderful visions come to life. We continued this wonderful journey where I got to meet more and more people, and by luck or the stars all aligned one day, but I was asked to be part of this festival, and I jumped at the opportunity, and I kind of started as kind of working with some of the other staff here, and then I moved into a position where I was a program manager, and I was asked to be festival director about 3 years ago. I work with a lot of great people. And the reason why, our shorts and our program comes together so well is because of the team that we have here. A lot of volunteers, a lot of people that work really hard and offer a lot of their free time to make this thing come to life. And without them, there is no festival. So I'm a very small piece of what this whole thing is. I have two great guys that work in the horror side, Danny Marianino and Brandon Kitchen, who do our horror program for the competition and the short films. They have put together a phenomenal lineup again this year, and I'm always so happy with everything they put out. I mean, they have such an eye for horror that we get these films that have such variety and diversity within the realms of horror. And we know there are so many subgenres of horror that you can make 1,000 different kinds of horror films. But for some reason, these guys are so talented that they compose these great programs. And on the other side of things, with the sci-fi, we have Michael Stackpole, who has been doing this just as long as those guys have been, and he is a fabulous programmer as well too. So, I always give the credit to those guys first because they are really doing the festival great by with the experience that they have and by programming what they do.
Yeah, so you've had some really great lineups. Like I said, in the past years, I've come and attended as a fan before I was a critic or a reporter or anything, and I've always loved it. And kind of tying back into this variety, like you mentioned, you have short films, you have blocks of short films. Mm-hmm. You have feature films. Are all the features included in this competition, or is that something separate?
No. We have two different feature programs. We have competition features, which will be sci-fi and horror, and then we have a showcase program. The showcase program is where my involvement is utilized most for the festival. So this would be films that either have distributors, films that are coming already done from bigger companies, films that may have already been on the festival circuit for a long time that we're trying to showcase in our program. So we would call them like highlights of festival horror or horror in general. And I keep saying horror, but that also includes science fiction. So, we have 11 films this year, 11 showcase films this year that we were able to program. It's the most that we've had since I started with the program. I talk about that variety. We have films that we have a vampire film. We have a good thriller that happens in the outback in Australia. We have a great science fiction film called. I should actually name these off.
Yeah,
so
start name dropping.
Our vampire film is called Transfiguration. It's a really, really subtle, atmospheric vampire film about a young kid in New York who kind of his fascination with vampirism kind of starts to invade his life. Really, really well done film, great characters, wonderful storytelling. It's the kind of film that has this undercurrent of social commentary as well too. Works very, very well. Next film that we have is a movie called Dave Made a Maze that's playing on our Saturday block. It had its big premiere at the Atlanta Film Festival earlier this year. It's the opening night film for them. It's a great fantasy sci-fi film, and it's about a guy who he's an artist, and he builds a fort out of cardboard. And when he goes inside his fort, he gets lost in an alternate dimension.
It sounds like my childhood.
Yeah, yeah, and it's becomes a great little adventure film, and it's just the creativity on this film is top notch, and it's really a fun film. We have a whole bunch of other films. I'll just mention a few more. Our closing night film is a film called Sequence Break, directed by Graham Skipper, who will be in attendance with us that evening. Great science fiction film as well too, kind of a sci-fi romance film with about an arcade technician who one night the machines kind of create this otherworldly biomechanical creatures that come to life.
Wow.
Really well done film. And we also have our opening night film, which is called Lake Bottom. And Lake Bottom is a contemporary slasher film about some kids who try to recreate these murders that happened in the 1960s, and they try to do it minute by minute. And they try to do this very dedicated recreation of what happened that night, and then bad stuff starts happening. So
as it always
does. But those are just a couple of the highlights. We also have a bunch of films that have screened at other festivals that have done really well, and I tell people, I refer them to our website, phoenixfilmfestival.com. You can get a full schedule and a lineup for everything, give you a great synopsis. You can even create your schedule beforehand on that website, and I often tell people that's probably the best way to do it.
Very helpful.
Because
it is definitely helpful.
It does get pretty busy here, and there'll be a lot of recommendations for films, but it's a great time. So.
Absolutely. Kind of going back, if we talked about last year, you had a number of films that, for me personally, were kind of flying under the radar at first, but then they went on to win all these awards. And you even had, you mentioned the directors coming this year for which film was it?
Graham Skipper will be here for Sequence Break. He made a movie, or I think he was a producer of a film called The Mind's Eye a few years ago. That came out earlier this year. I've tried to get a bunch of his films for the festival. They just didn't seem to work out every year, so I'm really happy that we get him this year. Last year, I was really proud of the program we did last year. We had a film called Under the Shadow that got some great reviews. We had I'm trying to think about what we had last year. We had Greasy Strangler, which turned a lot of heads. May have turned a lot of people to the doorway, but it was a great time with that one. The Eyes of My Mother. Eyes of My Mother was another big one. The actress was here.
And that went on to win a number of awards. I'm heartroping that I missed out on meeting the actress. They're talking
it was a lot of fun. She had some great insight as well too. So we were a lot of times we don't get these actors or filmmakers don't confirm with us ahead of time, so sometimes they'll just show up at the screening. There's been many times. I remember a few years ago there was a movie called Savaged, I believe was what it was called. Yeah, Savaged. And Savaged came here, and it was our late night feature, and it was a lot of people were there watching the movie, and I was just standing at the doorway watching people leave, and I'm like, that's the actress from the movie. The main star is right there. And I if I would have known that ahead of time, I would have probably done a Q&A or something like that. But, just so happened that she came here with her friends from Los Angeles and was here for the screening, and I was shocked. So,
that's great. So, as we said, wide variety
Yep.
of films: horror, sci-fi, contemporary films, musicals, stuff that's premiering here that hasn't been seen elsewhere or is in very limited release. I've come for a number of years personally. I love it. The chance to meet some of the people involved in these films, whether it's directors, actors, actresses, you never know who's going to be there. And a lot of times they're just hanging out. There's the party pavilion. You can see a movie, love it, and go talk to the people that made it, which is amazing. It's a very rare opportunity for anybody.
We thrive on treating our filmmakers right. We thrive on that filmmaker aspect. So our creators, we want to foster this identity with both festivals, where we are a directors festival.
Yes.
And we want these creators to share their visions with us. We want them to be here to answer those questions. I find a lot of value in understanding how a film works when you can talk to the guy who was there from day one doing it. And that's nothing against the actors. The actors are an important part of that as well too. But to have these directors here that are able to answer any question that you want to answer about the film is a big thing, and especially for budding filmmakers. It's a way for you to learn. It's a way for you to experience or gain an experience by talking to somebody about what they went through on their production.
It's so much insight.
Exactly. Yep.
And personally, I've talked to some of these directors. There's been films where it's like, I didn't quite get it. I didn't know what they're going for. And you talk to the director, and it just clicks. And you're
Definitely.
Like, oh my God, I see what they're trying to do.
Definitely. Yeah.
So if you're interested, if this hasn't piqued your interest, I'll be shocked. But we have some passes we're going to be giving away. Flex passes. So was it 4 films? I believe
4 films for the price of one.
That's
or
right.
4 films for free because he's going to give it to you.
That's right. I think it's 2. It's a pair of Flex.
Okay.
Flex.
That's 8 films.
Of Flex passes.
I can
so
do math.
8 films. 8 films, or 4 with a significant other,
you got
or
it.
a special person in your life. So if you hit the link below, we're going to have links for both the giveaway
right here.
and for the entire festival and the schedule. So anything you could possibly need, we're going to have right below.
That's right. Right here.
We'll be giving those away shortly. If you don't get them, I highly, highly recommend, if nothing else, buy at least 1 ticket. Come see what it's like. The first time I came, I was a little skeptical, blew my mind. I would never miss this again for the world. So, Monty,
Kevin,
thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure.
I admire all the films that you do. I think you as a filmmaker, I'm really happy to see you grow. Every film that you do has been something I've loved even more. So continue doing what you do, and you guys make sure to watch everything he does.
Thanks, man.
See you later.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks.